you for being my first guest on a Higher Consciousness podcast. I just wanted to start with a story about how I met you, if that's okay.
Sure.
So I was taking the bar exam in 2016, and I was having to go to very rural Ohio, and all of the hotels were taken, but your Airbnb popped up and your house is magnificent. It looked like a lush garden house with a pond, and I thought, okay, I'm going to stay there. So I got there and I was welcomed by you.
Water?
Oh, of course, of course. Of course. Do whatever makes you comfortable. And you know, we took I think it was a 2-day exam, and one of those days, I don't know how it happened, but you and I just started chatting, and yeah, and you told me your story, and I was, as you were telling it, I was thinking, this sounds like a movie. and you know, I also was really taken aback because I had never met anyone from North Korea. And when you said you were North Korean, I thought, what? I've never met anyone from North Korea, let alone had a conversation with anyone. So it was just interesting to hear your story. And I was really just taken aback by how positive and happy you were. You opened your home to strangers from around the world. I think when I was there, you had some exchange students from China, you had some engineers staying with you. Your house was a full house.
Yeah, it was. And I had a 6-bedroom.
Yes. And it was just amazing. And your energy was so positive, and it just really left a mark on me. And I just really am excited to talk to you. And I hope that we put some good vibes out into the universe, and whoever needs to hear it feels inspired by this. And I'm so glad you're willing to tell your story, because it's really interesting and it's really inspiring.
Well, it's my story, but it's not mine.
What do you mean by that?
I went through this. Well, I belong to the universe.
Yeah.
So whatever I have, I'm managing it. It's not really mine.
Yeah.
So, of course, I will share. Perhaps maybe one person will get inspiration from it.
And that's all it takes, just a spark in someone.
Yeah, spark starts very little.
Yeah.
And so I'll be happy to.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'd like to start at the beginning. Can you tell me when you were born and where in North Korea you were born?
Yeah, I was born, what year? I don't know. I'm 78, 79 now. So that's how old I am.
Age is a state of mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was born in Hwanghae-do. That's province. And Hwanghae-do, Anakgun, 217. That's
Oh, wow.
the number.
And who was, I'm assuming when you were born, it was still a dictatorship in North Korea? Or was it more free? What was the climate like when you were a child?
It was between.
Okay.
It's between. What happened is that 1942, Allies won the war, Second World War. Remember? Mm-hmm. And that's what about when I was born. And allies who helped us are America, England, France, not Germany, and all the European people, and even Turkey's in it too. And so just as we Allies won, Korea was forced to not to be a kingdom.
That's right, because North and South were one country.
Yes, and then we were a kingdom.
A kingdom, okay.
And then Russia helped too. So Russia took over half of North Korea, and then South Korea was taken over by America.
Oh.
And when I said take over, American wasn't controlling, but we were so poor, we didn't have food. Even had a food, everything is burnt. And so.
Wait, everything was burnt?
Yeah.
From
Like,
what? Oh, from war?
War, yeah.
Mm.
So we will eat like burnt rice, cooked burnt rice. It was terrible, but anyway. So then we soon realized, my father realized that Russia has some other ambition.
Mm-hmm.
So how South Korea was going is good because America is in charge of it.
Okay, yeah.
North Korea was charged by the Russia. So without we realizing, it soon become a communism. And it was very subtle at first.
Oh.
Yeah. And my father said, we gotta get out of here.
How old were you when this happened?
7.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because he said something. My father was intellect.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very well-to-do man. And then pretty soon, before we realized that the government is coming, taking care of our lush land.
Oh.
Yeah.
So those were the warning signs. They soon started taking
and
your
what
land.
they're saying is that we divided. No, they take it all. So what communism does is they say we want to divide it equally. No, they want to divide equally in the hierarchy. And the poor people stay poor. And, a lot of Americans are confused about socialism and communism.
Mm-hmm.
Communism is not socialism.
Yeah.
And so I don't even understand all this. Oh, I don't want socialism. I don't even understand. America is a very not well-educated people. I'm not saying they don't go to school,
Mm-hmm.
but they have no education as what's going on globally,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I talk to Americans, they have no idea. When I go to Asia or some other place, Europe, they all know what's going on in the world. Only America. And I think because we are planning and we just Americans have never been hungry.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's a good point. We've, like you said, we've never been hungry, at least in our generation.
That's right.
And I think that if Americans did know, like if we really were tapped in, there might be more, it might look more like it did this year with all the protests, and maybe people would be saying more about it. I don't know. It seems like it's a benefit to maybe not have everyone so tapped in, and not to us, but the government, the people in power.
Okay, let me go back to North Korea.
Okay.
So we lost everything. So my father got a boat. Hwanghae-do is right outside Seoul, by the ocean. So next harbor is Incheon. That's where MacArthur went in. And Incheon it's about 30 miles or less. But when you don't have fast boat, fast cars, that takes a long time. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to take care of 25 to 30 people. When we got there, it was a secret, big secret, because we couldn't take everybody. There was 100 people there
Oh, wow.
waiting for us to take off.
Wow. Did everyone get on the boat?
Yes, because we threw away all the gold and clothes. My father said, we need the money when we go to South, but we cannot kill these people. So we all taking things down to throw away in the ocean.
And doesn't that say a lot about the true meaning of life? In the end, you got rid of the gold and all your possessions
Absolutely.
for the people.
For the people, yeah. And so we landed in Incheon, and then my father got a quick job again because he's well known.
Okay. What did your father do?
He's banker.
Okay.
And he is, and he was an intellect.
Now, Sue, let me ask you this. When you guys did decide to leave, was the government of North Korea at the time
Oh, they didn't.
were they actively trying to keep people from leaving?
Oh, yes. It was a very dangerous journey.
Okay. So were people being killed if they were caught leaving?
Oh, yes. Many got killed.
Okay.
And right now, South Korea has nearly 60 million people. North Korea only has 20 people.
Okay.
Because they try to come down, And anyway, so we went back to our regular life as it is. We started it from Incheon, and I think it has been about a year. I don't know. I get mixed up in dates. Okay, so just about a year. My father told me the communists are invading us again. So they're coming down to South. And before we knew, before we could do anything, they came. And then that winter, they brought Chinese. One of the incredible things you see in Chinese army, we kill, they come, we kill, we don't have enough bullets. That's how many people there are.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't have enough bullets.
Wow.
And my father hide in the refuge under the living room floor. I didn't know where my father was. And
So where were you?
my house.
Okay.
And we had two maids. He's more like a servant. And my grandmother and my mother, and I'm the oldest one, and then my sister. And my mother was pregnant, and she had a boy, so we had two sisters and one boy, and fourth generation boy. He's the only boy, fourth generation. So that's a big deal in Korea.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Su, it's S-U, and when you look at it, it means long life. Because my grandmother had 12 kids and 10 died.
Oh my gosh.
So she was so scared that I wouldn't be, I will die. And of course they were looking for man, boy, but I was not boy. And I was a twin. And those days, the twins are very disgrace to family.
Twins were?
Just ignorance.
Okay.
There's a lot of instances in Kingdom. We killed a lot of twins. Like, what do you call that? Queen will have twins, and they're so ashamed. So it was like that.
So your twin was killed?
Not killed, she died.
Okay.
That I was told.
Okay.
And so I'm living there, and one day my mother took me into the living room, refuge, and there's no light, you know, dark. And but I could see corner of some gray man with a long beard,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know who that was. So pretty soon I got used to dark, and when I saw it was my father,
Oh, wow.
he'd been there for 90 days.
Hiding under the house.
Mhm.
So they were looking for him specifically?
Yeah, he was the number one enemy because he left North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
He really didn't believe anything. You know, he figured that communism cannot work because you take away incentives. You know, we cannot, you work hard, but you make the same money as if somebody didn't work hard. But anyway, so, and of course we hugged and we cried, and she said, Sue, I'm trusting you. That's why I asked your mother to come here, but you must not tell anybody I'm here.
Wow. How old were you at this point? 8 or 9?
So I said, I won't, Daddy, I won't. But I was so happy my father was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my mother had a problem that I seen my father because I was only 8 years old. So I might, I might tell somebody because I was so close to my father.
Mm-hmm.
And my father told me, so if you tell somebody, just one person, I can get killed. So I came out. I couldn't tell my grandma because she's old. She's looking for her only son, cry all the time, bring the fortune tellers and pray 1 hour at a time. Just, house is upside down.
That's a amazing secret for an 8-year-old to keep.
Looking back, yeah. But at the time, that was my secret. That was my treasure for me. That's how I handled it.
Yeah.
It's my treasure. Daddy said, I cannot show to anybody. I cannot talk to anybody. I was pretty cautious.
Yeah.
I always been pretty cautious. And then I'm the oldest one, so you automatically put the burden on you. That's the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest one. I gotta take care of grandma. I gotta take care of maids. I gotta take care of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Sue, let me ask you, do you have headphones?
yeah, I do.
Just because I'm picking up, like when you move, the mic picks up the
Sorry,
sound. Oh, that's okay.
Tara, come here. Put this microphone. I mean the phone. Oh. Is this okay?
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can still hear you when you, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
How
Perfect.
about you?
Yeah, I think I can hear you still. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So one day we were playing courtyard in the front of my house. A very dearest uncle show up, and he was my father's. There are 3 of them best friends, and then he show up, and of course we are so happy to see man.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother come out and greeted him, and then fix him a lunch. And he asked her, "Where's the Hanyang?" That's my father. And she said, he's not here. He's gone. I haven't seen him for 3 months. And he said, who you talking to? I'm his best buddy. I'm figuring that he has some kind of refugee place. Right now, about now, he's sick. And my father was sick, had a fever,
Mm-hmm.
hasn't seen sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
And so he says, please I came to comfort him. He needed to see me. So my mother thought that made a sense, but they were very close friends.
Mm.
So she went down to refuge and brought my father out. And he was a communist.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, Sue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he took him away.
Oh.
And anyway, my world came down because he was like a God. He was a fun. He would always play horses when he came home. And so I turned into caretaker at age 8.
Mm-hmm.
I had no childhood. I had no teenager life. I couldn't because I'm the oldest one. So we lost our father. He got killed.
By his best friend.
No, best friend didn't kill. Kim
Okay.
Jong-un's grandfather.
Okay. But he was betrayed by his best friend.
Yes. And when the Trump was elected, he was saying Kim Jong-un is his best friend, all that stuff, remember?
Mm-hmm.
There was more than I can take it. I came to free country. North Korea is an antithesis of America. Oh, so poor. And there, my president is saying he's his best buddy. Then man will ever know what he did, how much he hurt me.
Yeah. You and millions of other people, you know?
Yes.
And that's what Americans don't understand, like you were saying.
No,
There's real pain.
real
You
pain.
had to watch your father be taken away, and that's real pain. That's more than a lot of people could bear.
I think most people can bear if it happened to you. I do not consider that I'm special or anything, but I survived.
Well, you did more than survive, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that, Sue. We'll get to that.
And
So you were saying that you didn't have a childhood. So were you taking care of your mother as well?
because my mother lost her mind, so hurt.
Yeah.
She was in her late 20s and her husband is taken away. We made all this effort from coming from North Korea to South Korea. And then for second time, Chinese invaded again. This time we had a good intelligence. So our family got big bus and we went to South. And the most south we can go is city called Busan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the second largest city other than Seoul. So we stayed there for 6 months. We couldn't go to school, you know. And even Korea is a little, one province to another is very different cultures. So it's like we went to other country. In fact, we can't even understand what they're saying, dialect.
Oh, wow. And how did you guys survive? How were you guys eating?
My mother had little money, and then that's another miraculous story. Mom goes to shopping every day for fresh food. One day she went and she didn't come home. So we all out there thinking, what happened to my mother? Our hearts go like that whenever we don't see family, because we don't know. Mm-hmm. She was coming and she was smiling. I said, Mom, you're late. And she says, where's your grocery? And she said, look at that uncle. And then there was a man following my mother. In Korea, we never call grown-ups by first name, but we either call uncle so-and-so and auntie so-and-so, because we consider that's very, very rude. And I look at it, oh, that's the uncle I used to see in Incheon. And what are you doing here? And he had to go, he left. And then my mother said, let me tell you what happened. So we were eating. We had my grandmother, my aunt's family. There was a whole bunch of us just sleeping everywhere. And she said she was at the market and somebody was calling her name, calling my name. Said, Suja's mother. And so she thought, this can be. I don't know anybody. And turned around, she met Willie, the guy. And he says, so what are you doing here? Where is teacher Kang? Highest honor you can give to Korea is a teacher.
Okay.
Teacher. So where is he? And so my mother said he got killed. And he said, ma'am, come here. He chopped everything and put on the A-frame. And lots of fish. We are peninsula. And came home and enough to eat for 1 month.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And he said, your husband helped me so much. He also sent my kids to school because in Korea, there's no free school that time. And so my mother said, I did not know that. So you don't know a lot of things your husband did. And so that's how I survived.
Sue, that's just, it's miraculous. Like you said, the good deeds of your father followed him even after his death. Look at that.
And so that's why I believe I'm not a religious person. Say I like Jesus' precept.
Yeah.
So I try to love people and be merciful and don't judge. And I go to church sometimes, but less and less. But I know there's a creator. I don't know who or what it is, but I got so much help from that being. Just nick of times. There's many times I should have died, but I didn't die. We should have been so hungry, but we weren't hungry.
And now you're here Skyping in 2021 with a girl from New Mexico. and that's the way the world works. It is the divine path, you know, it is.
It is divine.
It is.
And then my father, when he was living, he always told me, so you're smart. I want you to go to big land, and I would like for you to go to Yale. We all knew Yale, Harvard, Princeton, because Koreans are very focused on studying. So, okay then. And of course he's gone. So, a few months later, we came back to Incheon. And everything was burned.
Oh, wow.
We are walking, and there is a North Korea soldiers with a gun, and there's me and my mother, whoever, walking. And our ally, B-29, I think, will throw the bomb, but it will never touch civilians. It was amazing.
Wow.
how they just pick up communist soldier like a what do you call tweezer.
No, yeah.
And when they die, they go 3 steps forward. He says manse, which means glory, and they die. And I saw so much die, so many dies. You know,
Yeah, that's traumatizing.
it is. I'm
But
saying
it also can make you very thankful, which I feel like you're a very thankful person.
I am. What I'm thankful mostly is that I seen some pain. I experienced some pain. I seen ugliest of a human behavior. But because I say God will always protect my heart. So I'm always vulnerable. I feel bad for other people because when you go through so much pain, you get hardened.
Mm-hmm.
So 78, 79, whatever I am today, I, I'm so grateful.
And you're not hard at all, soft. So
No,
you're so soft. That's what makes you so special. You're so soft. You could be so hard. You could be so brittle.
yeah,
You could be so angry,
yeah,
but you're not.
no, no, because then I didn't accomplish anything. I didn't know all this just happened. And I figured it out young. I need to help people.
That's wisdom.
Yeah, my grandmother always told me I had a lot of wisdom. I'm not sure where I got it.
Well, your father, for one.
Yeah. My mother was a very smart lady, too.
Yeah.
She was a South Asia tennis champion.
Wow.
They're very long people. Oh, yeah, and then she did the ice skating champion.
You had amazing parents. And
Yes,
I'm sure your grandmother was amazing as well.
yes. My grandmother, mom's mom, she was a gatekeeper for my heart to not to be hardened.
Man.
Mhm.
How did she do that?
After war, life is not good. We came back to Incheon, not good. But my grandmother always sing. So I got so irritated with her one day. I said, Grandma, why do you have joy? What is there to be joyful about it? And she looked at me, hold my hand, and she said, Sue, when you have Jesus, you have all the joy you want to know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's faith.
yeah, she did. She is probably has influenced my life more than anybody else. She hid her pain and took care of my pain. And that's who I want to be. I don't know how long I'm going to live, but until I drop, I want to pay back. I want to pay back to the country, neighborhood, school, everything. So has been so generous to me. So my father wanted me to come to America so bad. So I made a way to find out, and I came to America.
How did you do it?
Those days, it wasn't hard to come to America.
Okay.
I'm talking about 60, early 60.
Mm-hmm.
So all I need to know somebody. And I was singing. We are singing family. My
Mm-hmm.
two kids are opera, and
Oh, wow.
then my son-in-law and daughter-in-law, they're opera singers.
Wow.
So
I'm learning things about you, new things. It's so amazing.
some things are not so good.
Yeah.
so 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 I met a lot of integrating with the American soldiers and come to local church. And then there was officers sing, but they didn't have alto. I have alto voice. So I used to sing with them. Everything was new to me. I went to American compound and they invited me to lunch and they had this big pepper, green pepper.
Yeah.
I put on the napkin, I brought home. I never seen a napkin either.
Wow.
Um, well, everything we use newspaper.
I mean, you grew up in wartime.
Yeah. And you had to survive.
Yeah.
Nothing else, you survive.
So in the 60s you came to America. Did your rest of your family stay?
Oh yeah, they couldn't come. We didn't have money. But before that, I just wanted to tell you a really incredible story.
Oh, tell me.
My grandmother and my two maids and my mom, I think she has some loyalty. She's like a princess. And my mom and my sister and brother and I were living in middle of the night. We had a curfew 9 o'clock, you know. There was a bang on the outdoor door gate. I mean, like somebody's gonna, you know, destroy. So one of my mates said, Sue, what are we gonna do? I said, let's go. So I was the hostess. Yeah. And then I took my maid, I went there. Honey, there was layers of American soldiers. They come to arrest my mother.
For what?
We didn't know. And they just taken away. My mother said, okay, I am not going to leave my baby, 6-month-old here. So she took my brother who was 6-month-old and she gone. And so I said that, okay, my daughter just left, so that's why. And so we have no telephone. And rest of the family didn't come back from Busan yet. So we were all alone. And my grandmother was going more crazy. You know, just a broken heart was too much. Mm-hmm. And then third day, kids in the street says, Sue, yeah, your mother is coming home with a Yankee, big nose and yellow eyes. And they are very black. So I went out. And they were giving chocolate, gums, and cornmeal, just throwing on the street so people can have it. Mm-hmm. That's a manna from heaven.
Oh, wow.
Cornmeal. We never had a cornmeal. We had a corn, but we never had a cornmeal. Mm-hmm. So we made all kind of things, made us feel. But I said, Mom, what happened? She said, just a minute, I'll tell you tonight when we eat. And that 2 Yankees were so kind. And I called him Uncle. Uncle, thank you. I didn't speak English, so I just said, thank you in Korean. I said, I hang on to him, thank you, you know? And he was so wonderful. And he was a very big. I don't think he was fat, just big guy, mm-hmm. Big black man. Mm-hmm. He was a highest sergeant, had a 6 stripes. And so she came in, I said, Mom, what happened?
Sorry, Sue, your computer, it's picking up on when you move, it's picking up the sound, so it's kind of getting scratchy. Can you put your computer on something that it won't move when you move?
Yeah, I think so, honey.
That might just help the sound quality.
What do you think?
Perfect.
Okay. So mom told me that night they took her to neighborhood playground. And the people who were arresting people were 1/10, and the people being arrested was 1/10. And you can see those people because there are a lot of light.
Mm-hmm.
No, they can see like mom, but my mother could not see those Americans. And what they did, post-war, honey, we lost a lot of people. That's a war, sin of a war. It's not anybody trying to kill anybody,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And with the flawed human being, try to take advantage of it. I cannot blame them. Problem was war. And people, American will call number 326, and then he goes to this, my mother was the only woman, by the way. And then he's standing at the circle, and they always ask, what do you want? They say, I want cigarette. All of them, mom said, they all wanted the cigarette because they're dying. And they have a cigarette and they kill him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And these were the Americans killing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And my mother turn came third day. And she figured it out what's going on. But she doesn't speak English, you know? So she went to that circle. And the sergeant said, what do you want? You want cigarette? And she felt like I need to speak whatever language I know. So she speak fluent Japanese. So she spoke to Japanese to him. Why are you killing me and my son? I lost my husband to communist. We've been waiting for you. And that black sergeant said, "Chotto mate," that means just a minute in Japanese. He spoke perfect Japanese.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So she called in to that tent. When she went in there was a neighbor hoodlum. He was giving wrong information for money. We lost a lot of people.
Oh my God.
In front of my mother, the sergeant went over and slapped him. You've been lying to us.
And all those innocent people died.
Died. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And that's why she's coming back. 3/4 truck, I think that's what they call. That's all. And then there was a driver and sergeant and my mom. That sergeant brought enough for years for us to eat. I mean, that's why Koreans love Spam.
Americans export Spam.
Yeah, and especially army, a lot of fat and, it's
Yeah.
perfect food.
Mm-hmm.
And we have never had such a delicious food. So about 20 years ago, Letterman got a whole bunch of Korean New York Street and eating Spam in the stick. We love it. We still love it.
Yeah. Listen, it's delicious. I like it too.
It's not good for us, but it's delicious.
Not.
But now Korean company makes Spam.
Oh.
So they drove. And it was, and
Sue, I just have to say, your mother saved so many lives that day.
yes, she did.
Oh my gosh. She saved their lives.
She was a very courageous lady. She was not going to go without saying anything.
Good for her.
And this sergeant really liked her. You know, she was, otherwise he would have killed all of them. Mm-hmm. So to do translator. No, they spoke Japanese. So Sergeant asked my mother, Oka-san, that's Japanese, Mom, do you have a job? No. And says, so your husband is gone? Yeah. I said, do you want a job? And Mom said, yes. And Mom used to add faster than adding machine without cuss. She was quite a lady and a very modern lady. So they gave her job at PX, Post Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
That money she made there was like we are the richest people in the world.
Oh, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
Sue, there's just so much divine intervention in your life.
I'm glad you said that because I do feel that way. I owe to divine, the creator, something until I go home. I don't know where I'm going, but I owe a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I want to be kind, because if I kind rest of my life, I couldn't pay back. And
Wow.
Americans were so sweet and generous. So you want to go?
And we can be that again. I really believe that. I believe
I do
that
too.
we can be that again. I really do.
Yeah, I do. I was very, what we went through 4 years was not even, we mustn't repeat again.
I agree.
What America went through, we went through last Wednesday afternoon, was my 60th in Korea. Yeah, so I have some more story to tell you, of course, but I'm weak. Is there any way I can talk later again?
Of course, we can absolutely continue this. We can do this part 1.
Yeah.
And then do you want to speak again tomorrow?
Yeah, it's okay. Because telling somebody how God was so in it, how Americans were so in it for me, is most precious treasure I have.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I lost my baby too. She was 5 years old. Mm-hmm. The picture is there anyway.
And you were already in America then?
Yeah.
Yes, Sue, we can absolutely, we'll continue this tomorrow, because you've spoken from the soul, and that is a lot that's heavy. It's heavy.
No, I'm emotionally I'm up, but physically I'm down.
Oh, your arthritis.
Yes.
Okay.
So can we do tomorrow?
Absolutely. I will send you another link and we will finish this tomorrow. Same time.
Same time, same place.
Same time, same place.
And what I was praying and thinking about, my pain, I don't want it to go into pain. I want somebody to get a benefit. And I used to speak a lot. And always one thing people used to tell me, you're so honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to live any other way.
And I respect that about you.
Thank you.
I mean, you just are who you are, and you share it. You share it.
Because it's not my story.
But you also, Sue, I'm telling you, when I first met you, your spirit is the first thing I think that captivated me, just because you just were so open and you just were so kind, and and I didn't know these things about you, like I didn't know these things about you. And I would have just thought that you had lived a very great life, just happy, because you're so happy, and you have lived a great life. I'm sure
Yeah,
you
I did.
still consider it a great life, even though you've had a lot of pain and tragedy. But there's something about your spirit that's unbreakable. And that's what I hope
Thank you.
someone hears, and it inspires someone, because if you can still be happy and thrive after your experiences, there's hope. There's hope for everyone. There's
Yeah,
hope for
there's
everyone.
no, I hear often, oh, you don't know what kind of family life I had, or they give me all the excuses. I say, we are bigger than our reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
We are stronger than anything we went through.
You're right.
So you don't have to hoard your grief and blame somebody. Hardest thing was the losing my baby, 5 years old.
I can imagine, as a mother. I can imagine, Sue.
I still have picture in there, and I talked to her.
You should. You should.
I talked to her, and I'm alone. I moved to smaller home.
Oh, you did? Okay. That was a very big home. That was a very big home.
Yes. And then, I have friend. He lost his wife in cancer. We known each other a long time. She was a judge. So Jeff and I become very close, and we share a lot. And we share about, I need someone, like, if it's a deity, that's okay. If it's a people, that's okay. I want somebody to bring out some of the rotten things I have in my heart and have a clean soul. So that's my prayer every day. I say, God, I want to be a little bit closer to you than yesterday. Yeah. Then I will do right things.
That's a beautiful prayer. We should all say that.
That's it.
Yeah. It's simple. Just help me be a better person than I was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. That's it. And he does. And I'm very saddened by where Christianity is going here. Very saddened. But Trump is gone. We have a very, very special man as president. I'm not talking about policy. I'm not talking about anything else. He is a terribly decent person.
I think that that's true. I do think that that's true.
And that's
I don't think that he wants people to be in pain.
No.
He cares about people, which is what we need. We need someone who actually cares about people.
He does. That's why we needed that kind of person.
We are far too advanced as a civilization for there to be as much suffering still. Like, life is better, I think, for most people across the board, but I think that we could do better. But we need someone who cares about people, who says people over money, people over, the planet over money, animals, species are, all of these things over money, over the material. Because it's like you said, that story of you getting on the boat, you threw the gold, you threw the clothes, and it was just human souls on that boat.
Because we didn't have choice. I mean, we're not going to hold on to gold over people.
Yeah. But that's the leadership that we need.
And so I came, and I didn't go to Yale here, but my son went to Yale.
Well, good. That's almost just great.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Almost better than, yeah, it's better. And I'm always shocked when people say, "You're so smart," and I say, I wonder why they say that. because I do not consider myself smart.
Why? You are very smart.
You think?
Yes, Sue. I'm telling you, you have a touch of something in you,
Thank
and
you.
it certainly has captivated me for sure.
Thank you. And we start this, we'll do it, and everything is in perfect timing. We don't have to rush. We don't have to,
We don't.
no,
We don't.
just if nobody else see but you and I share, you will bear the fruit.
And I already feel it. I already feel it. I already feel more hopeful and
Oh,
more inspired.
I am hopeful. And people say, oh, they started to, oh, Trump, why are you whispering? He says, I'm scared. I said, what are you scared? How can you scare mere man that has no conscience? You know?
Hmm.
So,
And if me and you are hopeful, there's more people that are hopeful.
oh, I know people have hope.
I really am hopeful. I really am. And it's easy to turn on the news and to just say, oh, this is all bad. It's all bad. But I know good people. I know
Good people.
you. I know so many other good people. It's
Good
why I
people.
started this podcast, because I know people who are inspiring, not just me, and it gives me hope. So that's why I really am excited about this, because you can find all the bad things you want, but I'm so hopeful that good things are going to happen on our planet. I really am. I have to have
I
hope. I
believe it.
brought two babies into the world. I have to
That's
have
right.
hope.
Yeah. We don't want to, we really have to be careful what kind of place we're going to bring our offsprings. And I think we're going to be fine.
I do too.
And I don't know Joe Biden, but I am so thankful for Joe Biden. And I like Kamala Harris's delightfulness, cheerfulness. And you watch, everything Donald Trump possesses, you will go out with him.
I
Not
think that
a,
I think you're right.
yeah, not one drop is going to remain in that White House. I'm praying over.
Yeah. You and I think millions of other people too.
Sure,
Yeah.
we are,
Yeah.
because it was unthinkable, really, Wednesday night. And I love this country.
As do I.
And my spirit cries out because Americans are not educated very well. When I came to America, I want to hear some other news. I couldn't even get the Kentucky news. When you're in Korea, Germany, everywhere, we hear all over news, how Germany is doing it. Here, I don't even get to hear Kentucky news.
And you're right on the border.
Yes!
Hopefully that changes. Hopefully.
I think he will. I think God has a hand on us. I keep looking at it during these terrible 4 years. Very critical juncture, God to show up.
Mhm. Well, and I have hope in the younger generations.
Oh,
I
yes.
think that
Oh, yeah.
I think they're inspiring. I look at them and I think,
Oh, I am.
they excite me. They do, when they're so much smarter than I was at that age. They have so much more information.
And they have a lot less baggages.
Lot less baggage. And I think that they're more
Loving.
interconnected. They're
Yeah,
loving. They
loving.
care about the planet. I'm excited. I'm excited about them. I think that I'm just hopeful. I am.
You don't lose that. You have something to be hopeful for. I taught Sunday school class, college kids for a long time in one of these very progressive church.
Mm-hmm.
They are my joy. My birthday, two young people brought the dinner one day after another. I only have young friends. I said to Jeff, Jeff, if I had to go retire home. I'd rather go get out of this world.
Yeah.
I can imagine life with a whole bunch of old people complaining, oh no. So I live alone with my cat and my dog. And it's a good life.
Yeah.
Good life. And nothing happens by accident. It is preordained.
I'm starting to believe that more and more the older I get. I mean, Sue, I think about our chance meeting and I'm
Yeah,
just like how, I mean, you meet people throughout your life.
sure.
There's nothing new about that, but the fact that like what we're doing right now and how we met, it's
It's
just
unthinkable.
it's unthinkable. It's unthinkable about where we came from. I
That's
mean,
right.
it's it's unthinkable, but it's beautiful. It's what makes our existence beautiful.
And I think you have what it takes to be host.
Oh, thank you.
You
Well,
do.
it's my first
Yeah,
time.
yeah, fine. There has to be first time somewhere.
And what a person to interview for the first time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. God has been so gracious for me to travel all over the world. And I cannot say, I thank you, God. I have to say, somebody live, thank you first. And, I didn't know a lot of Black history.
Mm-hmm.
I am so grateful I got to know more Black history.
Mm-hmm.
George Floyd, and I said, we got to be clean from our original sin.
Mm-hmm.
No excuse, no nothing. We have to be cleaned
And
from
that
our,
starts with telling the truth.
absolutely.
you know it
Yeah.
starts with telling the truth, and that's what America has to reconcile with. We
Yeah.
have to stop teaching children and adults as well stories that aren't true. We have
Yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
we have to tell the truth. The original sins of this country, what happened with the natives and the indigenous people here, what happened with slavery, what happened with the wars that we fight and the bombs that we drop. We have to tell the truth.
We hide it, we hide it. So while you're hiding, nothing good happens.
Nothing
But
good.
I think this year, beginning, we're going to see some difference. I hope so.
I hope.
Yeah. I'm so glad we have first Indigenous person as a cabinet member.
Me too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just good things
Good
happening.
things. Good
Mm-hmm.
things. Good
Mm-hmm.
things. I'm hopeful, and I hope whoever's listening, if they're not, be hopeful. Be hopeful after hearing this. Just there's 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 hope. If you can hope, if I can
Oh,
hope,
yes.
you know,
Oh, how I love America.
you know, it is a beautiful country. And
Oh, your name, America, we call that in Korea,
what?
beautiful nation.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Sue, I have to tell you, I learned a Korean term. I'm reading a book by Ichi,
Italy.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and Hongik, HONGIK, maybe. It's I guess the slogan of South Korea, um, for the betterment of the world.
Okay.
And I when I realized what that word meant, I was like, I want to go to South Korea because
Oh, you love it.
I want to be in a country where that's their slogan, for the betterment of the world. Let's see what that's about.
I will love to go to Korea one more time.
Yeah.
I do. I don't have anybody there. I brought all my family here. So one of my brother is a physician,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is an engineer and work with the missile. And then they all retired.
Do
And
they live in Ohio as well?
no,
Okay.
one lives in the Virginia, one lives in the right now Vietnam. He's in Vietnam, and my sister lives in Texas. Ohio is not my favorite place, let me tell you. But what I do know is that nothing happens by mistake or, accidentally. So I know there's purpose.
Yeah.
Why am I living in Ohio?
There is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's good people in every place.
Oh, yes.
And you
Oh,
found them, and you have managed in rural Ohio to find the good people,
yes.
which there are good people. I'm from rural New Mexico, and rural people are good people. But yes, there's also a lot of craziness that happens in this state,
Of
so,
course.
so.
My friend was a Republican, you know, Jeff was, and he still is. But I had something to do with looking at things straight. He's a smart guy. He's an engineer with an aerospace engineer. He's retired, but because his whole neighborhood is Republican, and so I always tell him, think big. He told me today there is a 2 million signature in California to get rid of Governor Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
But I never heard that before. So I said, is your source credible?
Yeah.
And he looked at it again. He says, oh, my mistake. They want to have a 2 million signature by March. In my opinion, it ain't going to happen. There's so much rumor.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I only want to speak truth. I do not want to add to confusion.
I think that's an excellent way to handle it. And I think it's so easy to be reactive. You hear something
Yes.
and you react.
Yeah.
Instead of just waiting, taking a deep breath, maybe waiting a couple of hours, because stories change so quickly.
That's right. I do not react. I try not to react. I only respond
Mm-hmm.
a couple of days later. And you'll be surprised how the world looks different when you sleep over 2 days.
Isn't that, yeah, you're right. It's true.
you know, and I just love American young people and all over.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I have to do again.
No, don't be sorry.
Okay.
We'll end it here. I'm just gonna stop recording, and we'll pick up tomorrow. So I'm just gonna stop the recording and then we'll chit chat after. But
Sure.
I'm not hanging up on you yet. I'm just gonna stop the recording.
Okay.
So thank you for tuning in, if you did, to the first podcast of A Higher Consciousness, and we will be back with part 2 sometime in the coming days.
What an honor for you to call me.